Matrices are a way to organize a group of numbers or information. Matrices are named by their rows and columns. So a matrix, right, that has 5 rows, so rows go down, and 2 columns is called a 5 by 2. So it's always rows by columns. RC. Think of RC Cola if anybody remembers that drink. So 5 by 2 are the dimensions. So how many columns does a 6 by 1 have? So at first it's rows and it's columns, so it has 1 column. So that would look like this. 6 rows, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1 column. So it's just a vertical one. How many rows does a 5 by 2 have? So rows, columns. So it has 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's 2 columns of numbers. So that's called the dimensions. When you can add matrices, but you can only add matrices if they have the same dimension. For example, you couldn't add a 2 by 3 plus a 3 by 2 because it needs to have the exact same rows and columns. This one has 2 rows, this one has 3 columns. This one has 3 rows, this one has 2 columns. So you can't add them up. So to add matrices, all you have to do is just add the corresponding parts. So I'm going to put, and I use this notation, or this bracket, it's the same thing, they're still matrices. So 2 and negative 5 is negative 3. 3 and 8 adds up to 11. Negative 1 and 0 adds up to negative 1. And 4 and 10 adds up to 14. So we can add these because they're both 2 by 2 matrices. They have the exact same dimensions. We can add these 2 matrices because they have the exact same dimensions. This is 2 by 2, this is 2 by 2. So negative 10 and negative 8 is negative 18. 12 and 0 is 12. 3 and 9 is 12. And 5 and negative 4 is 1. You can also multiply matrices by what's called a scalar. So the scalar is just the number out front. So when you do that, all you do is distribute the 6 and multiply it through to each number. So 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times negative 10 is negative 60. And you can also multiply with fractions too. So negative 2/3 or 2/3 times negative 4 is negative 8/3. And then 2/3 times 6 is 2 times 6. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Then the 20/3, because 2 times 10 is 20, and then divided by 3 is 20/3. And 2 times 12 is 24, divided by 3 is 8. So that's my multiplying by a scalar through a matrix. Now multiplying matrices is a whole different game. So in order to multiply matrices, the inside dimensions need to be the same. So, for example, if you have a matrix, let's pretend that this is 2 times 3, and you're multiplying it by, well, the b has to be the same, so it's 3 times 4. You can multiply these two because these 3's are the same. The 2 inside dimensions have to be the same. The resulting one is going to be the 2 outside matrices. So if you multiply a 2 by 3 matrix times a 3 times 4 matrix, you're going to get 2 rows and 4 columns. So before you multiply them, these 2 inside ones have to be the same. So these 2 numbers are not the same, A, B, because this B and A are not the same, so you can't multiply them. So let me show you how to multiply matrices. Oops. Okay, so first we have to see if we can multiply. Well, this matrix is 2 by 2, and this matrix has 2 rows, 2 columns. So these 2 numbers are the same, so that means I can multiply it, and the resultant is going to be a 2 by 2. So to multiply, you take the row of the first one times the column on the second one. So watch how I do this. First, I know my matrix is going to be a 2 by 2, but I'm going to leave lots of space to show what I'm doing here. So the row of the first one matrix by the column of the second matrix, row by column. So my first number is going to be 3 times negative 2, so I'm going to write that out. 3 times negative 2 plus 2 times negative 3. I already see I should have made this bigger over here. Oh, it's not letting me erase. Oops. Okay, so then my second one, I'm going to take, just going to have to make it bigger. Not that bigger. Okay, so the second one, I'm going to take 3 and 2 and multiply it by 5 and negative 6. 3 times 5 plus 2 times negative 6. So I'm going to write that out. 3 times 5 plus 2 times negative 6. And then my next one is I'm going to take this row and multiply it by this column. So it's going to be 4 times negative 2 plus negative 1 times negative 3. And my last part is I'm going to take this last row and multiply it by this column. So I do 4 times 5 plus negative 1 times negative 6. So at the end I need to simplify all this. So this number is going to be 0. 15 plus negative 12 is 3. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. And 20 plus 6 is 26. So here's my answer. So let's do another one down here. I'll try to do better about color coding it. So this matrix is a 2 by 2, and I'm multiplying it by 2 rows, 3 columns. So I can do that because these two rows are the same. And then my outside is going to be 2 times 3, and that's my resultant. So I'm going to make a big matrix. Okay, so I'm going to color it. So I'm going to multiply these, put these two together. So it's 1 times 5 plus 0 times 3. Then I'm going to multiply 1 0 by 6 4. So it's 1 times 6 plus 0 times 4. Then I'm going to change color again and multiply 1 times 0 plus negative 1 times 0. 1 times negative 1, oh I said that wrong, plus 0 times 0. Okay, then I'm going to do my second row. So my second row right here, I'm going to multiply it by this column right here, this column right here, this column right here. So it's going to be 0 times 5 plus 1 times 3. Then 0 times 6 plus 1 times 4. Then my last one, 0 times 1 plus 1 times 0. Or 0 times negative 1. Doesn't make a difference. But so then at the end I simplify all these numbers. This number is 5. This number is 6. This number is negative 1. This number is 3. This number is 4. And this number is 0. And then the last one, you're multiplying a 2 by 2 times a 2 by 2. So you can multiply them because the two inside dimensions are the same. So it's going to be a 2 by 2 matrix. So I'm going to multiply these two and these two. So negative 2 times 5 plus, oops, I just messed that up. Negative 2 times 3 plus 5 times 4. It's the first spot. Second spot is going to be the first row, second column. So 2 times negative 2 plus 5 times negative 1. Third spot, negative 3 times 3 plus negative 6 times 4. And the last spot, negative 3 times 2 plus negative 6 times negative 1. So then I go through and I simplify all of that. So first number, negative 6 plus 20, 14. Second number, negative 4 plus negative 5, negative 9. Negative 9 plus negative 24 is negative 33. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. 2 by 2 matrix.